Okay, let's recall what we have learned till now. We have learned what is statistics, descriptive statistics, inferential statistics. What is descriptive statistics? What is inferential statistics? We can distinguish between a sample and a population, understand how data are collected, identify variables and cases in a dataset, how many types of data is there, classify data as categorical or numerical, understand cross-sectional versus time series data, and then we have learned the measurement scales like nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio scale. So let's move ahead. The next is frequency distribution. How we can get the frequency distribution? A frequency distribution of qualitative data is a listing of the distinct value and their frequencies. Frequency distribution of a qualitative data is a listing of distinct values and their frequency. Like A, B, C, D and their frequencies 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 6. Okay, so construct a frequency distribution. How frequency distribution is constructed? The steps to construct a frequency distribution list the distinct value of the observation in the dataset in the first column of a table. List the distinct value. Here is the data A, B, C, A, D, like this. So we list out the distinct value of our observation in the dataset A, B, C, D. Then for each observation, place a tally mark in the second column. The first we check A, so we put A, again A, then B, then C, then A, D, A, B, D, D, A, B, D, C, A, B, C, C, A, B, C, D, A, D, A. So A is total 6, B is 3, C is 3, D is 3. Count the tallies for each distinct value, record the total in the third column of the table. And this total should be match. Now frequency table in Google Sheet. How frequency table should be calculated in Google Sheet? First, select and highlight the cells having data you want to visualize, like this. Then in the formatting bar, click on the data option. Click on data option. In the data option, go to the pivot table option and create a new sheet. After creating pivot table, go in pivot table editor and in the first first add rows and then values. Okay, let's see. First select the data, then go to the data option. Then create pivot table. Here in pivot table editor, first add rows, then add values. Then finally we get this type of frequency table. Now come to the relative frequency. Relative frequency helps us to compare to data set. What is relative frequency? The ratio of the frequency to the total number of observation is called relative frequency. The ratio of the frequency to the total number of observations is called relative frequency. For this, step 1 is obtain a frequency distribution of the data, like 2, 6, 3, 3, 2, 3. Then divide each frequency by the total number of observation. There is a total number of observation is 30. So divide each frequency, means 2 by 30, 6 by 30, 3 by 30. Then you will get the relative frequency of that observation. Then come to the charts of categorical data. How many types of charts we can use for categorical data? The two most common displays of a categorical variable are a bar chart and a pie chart. Both describe a categorical variable by displaying its frequency table. Both displaying its frequency table. Bar chart related to frequency, where pie chart related to relative frequency. Let's see pie chart first. A pie chart is a circle divided into pieces proportional to the relative frequency of the qualitative data. I told you bar chart related to the relative frequency, where bar chart related to the frequency. The step to construct a pie chart: first, obtain relative frequency distribution of the data. Divide a circle into pieces proportional to the relative frequencies. Label the slices with the distinct values and their relative frequencies. Suppose that if any data has a relative frequency of 0.4, then we should divide the circle. Your circle is having 360 degree, so multiply 360 to 0.4, and what will the value that will cover the part of this pie by the a. Then label the slices with a distinct value and their relative frequency. Then label this slice a and this relative frequency with. Example, use a protractor and the fact that there are 360 degree in a circle. Thus, for example, the first slice of the circle is obtained by marking of 0.4 into 360 is equal to 144 degree. This is 144. No, we should not write 144. We should write it 0.4 for A. See here. Category. Oh, sorry. This is category. This is telemark, frequency, relative frequency. Here, degrees for pi. Pie chart in a Google Sheet. Select, highlight the cells having the data you want to visualize. Click the Insert Chart option in Google Sheets toolbar. Change the visualization type in Chart Editor. Select in Chart Editor chart type to pie chart. A pie chart used to show the proportions of a categorical variable. Pie chart used to proportions how much parts is covering by a data it is showing. A pie chart is a good way to show that one category makes up more than half of the total. Then again, next coming is bar chart. A bar chart displays the distinct value of the qualitative data on a horizontal axis and the relative frequencies or percentage of those values on a vertical axis. Bar chart used to display the qualitative data on a horizontal axis and its frequency, relative frequency or percentage on a vertical axis. The frequency, relative frequency of each distinct value is represented by a vertical bar whose height is equal to the frequency or relative frequency. The bar should be positioned so that they do not touch to each other. Bar should have some distance. They should not touch to each other. Then how we can construct the bar chart in a Google Sheet? Select, highlight the cells having data you want to visualize. Click the Insert Chart option in Google Sheet toolbar. Change the visualization type in Chart Editor. Select the Chart Editor chart type to bar chart. The next one is Pareto chart. When the categories in a bar chart are sorted by frequency, the bar chart is sometimes called a Pareto chart. Pareto charts are popular in quality control to identify problems in a business process. When the bar chart categories are sorted by frequency, means the first major frequency will come first, then second, then third, then fourth. These are the Pareto chart. If the categorical variable is ordinal, then the bar chart must preserve the ordering. If the categorical variable has some order, it's the ordinal data, then we should create a Pareto chart rather than a bar chart, so that the picture of data is very clear by looking at first sight. Then what category has most frequency, then second one, then other, like that. A bar chart used to show the frequencies, relative frequencies of a categorical data. If ordinal, the order of categories is preserved. If ordinal data, then bar chart should become the Pareto chart. The bars can be oriented either horizontally or vertically. Bars can be shown on horizontal axis or on vertical axis also. We can show these bars like this. A Pareto chart is a bar chart where the categories are sorted by frequency. Then we should learn some points. Have a purpose for every table or graph you create. If you are creating any table or graph, we should have a purpose. Choose the table graph to serve the purpose. Pie charts are best to use when we are trying to compare parts of a whole. When we are comparing different data in a whole, that how then particular category how much is covering in a whole, then other category how much parts are covering in a whole, then we should use the pie chart. And bar charts are used to compare things between different groups. Okay. Label your data. Label your chart to show the categories and indicate whether some have been combined or omitted. We should label our chart. Name the bars in a bar chart. Name the slices in a pie chart. If you have omitted some of the cases, make sure the label of the plot defines the collection that is summarized. It means if we have some data like this, 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 and after that there are little datas with a much quantity, then we can summarize these all like as others, and we can construct our graph like this, 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 and this is like others. We should mention it. Do not omit this data. Show this data with a others categories. Next coming area principle. Displays of data must obey a fundamental rule called the area principle. The area principle says that the area occupied by a part of the graph should correspond to the amount of data it represents. Here you can see the some wine distribution of in country showing. Here it is showing one bottle, but it is having a much more areas that of other bars. Here the width of the bar has some different value, and here is the different value. and no baseline, and the chart shows bottles on top of labeled boxes of various size and shape. This is the wrong representation of data, whereas this is the right representation, where bars have equal size and the area covering by a bar is proportional to the its frequency. Area occupied by a part of the graph should correspond to the amount of data it represents. Another common violation is when the baseline of a bar chart is not at 0. See, here baseline starts from 75. It is called a truncated graph. Here baseline is at 0. It is correct. Here data integrity is maintained. But here it is starting from 75. Not correct. It is a truncated graph. We can use the y-axis break. Here are the different types of break we can use. If a amount is bigger, this one, this type, we can start at a bigger value like 75, but we should use this break at first so that it is showing the y-axis break. It is recommendable, but this is not recommendable. When we directly start the value from 75, it is not recommendable. Then next error we can go next mistake we should do, we can do, not we should do, we can do in our graph representation, that the round of errors. Important to check the round of errors. When table entries are percentages or proportions, the total may sum to a value slightly different from 100% or 1. If total is coming different from 100% or 1, then it's showing the round of error. This might result in a pie chart where the total does not add up to 100. Yes, 1. Here, look. Here is showing the different companies percentage there. And if we are adding this total, it is becoming 101. It means it has the round of error. Till here we are know your purpose and choose the table graph appropriately. Which table, which graph we are going to use for that representation of the data. Label your charts. We should label our charts. Handle multiple categories appropriately. Respect area principle. Avoid overly decorated graph. Means if you are in a pie chart, if you are showing the slices away from the center, it is a decorated graph, but it has no meaning. So avoid this. Avoid truncated graphs and use a special symbol to indicate vertical axis has been modified like this. Check for round off errors. These are the mistakes people do in representation of a data. The next coming is a mode. The mode of a categorical variable is the most common category. The category with the highest frequency means the longest bar in a bar chart, the widest slice in a pie chart, and in a Pareto chart, the mode is the first category shown. That's called the mode. Example, here is an example of a data. Here the frequency of A is higher than others. So A is the mode of this data. In the pie chart, A is covering the bigger part of the pie. So A is the mode of the data. Here also A is the mode of the data. Then come to the bimodal or multimodal. What it is? If two or more categories tie for the highest frequency, the data are said to be bimodal. In the case of two, or multimodal, more than two. In this data, the frequency of A is also 7 and the C is also 7. So A and C shares the same proportions of the data, So A or C, this data has a bimodal. Then comes to the median. Ordinal data offer another summary, the median, that is not available unless the data can be put into order. Okay, so we can find the median of the data if data we can put the data is in order. Data should be ordinal. For nominal data, we can only find the mode of data, but it is for ordinal data we can find the mode and median also. The median of an ordinal variable is the category of the middle observation. Middle observation. Median means which category has the middle observation of the sorted value. Sorted values की middle observation हमें निकालनी है. If there are an even number of observation, choose the category on either side of the middle of the sorted list as the median. We should put our data in an order like A, B, C, D, then D. How many is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here is the total number of categories is 11. So find the middle values here is very easy. 11 plus 1 by 2 you can find, and it is 6. So median is the 6th observation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She is the median of this data. But it becomes difficult when we have the even numbers, like if this D is not there, then it becomes a total 10. So half of the 10 is 5. So 5 and 6 both are the median of this data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This B or C. B or C. Anyone can be the median of the whole data. Okay, let's come to the next part. Consider the grades of 15 students, which is listed as this. This is the order data is in first put the data is in order A, then B, then C, then D. The median grade is the category associated with the at observation, which is B, because there are the 15 students. So for odd numbers we can get by adding 1 by and dividing by 2, n plus 1 by 2, it is 8. So it is the 8th observation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The B is the median of this data. When consider the grades of 14 students, which is listed as, then the median grade is the category associated with the 7th or 8th observation. 14th half will be 14 by 2 is equal to 7. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 or 8th. Here both are B. So B is so the median of this data. Same thing here. Same thing. Then come to the summary of this week. What we have learned: the mode of the categorical variable is most common category. The median of an ordinal variable is the category of the middle observation of the sorted value. We have no. So up to here we have learned the tabulated data, frequency and relative frequency, how frequency table is constructed, how relative frequency can get, charts of the categorical data. We can create pie chart, bar chart and Pareto chart for the given categorical data. Best practices: label your data, dealing with multiple categories like others. Area principle: we should follow the area principle. The area covered by a bar or slice is to be correspond to this data. Then we should avoid the misleading practices like decorated graph, having a part of center from slice. Truncated graph, we should not start at like 75, we should show some break, then round off errors. Total should be 100% or 1. Then last we have learned the mode and median of data. If the data is nominal, the only mode is possible. If the data is ordinal, we can get mode and median of the ordinal data. Thank you.